what evidence is there here? What is at this site?
Here at this site, we have the tomb of Moses.
There's a tomb here.
Yeah.
Of Moses.
Yes.
Josh Gates just uncovered Moses' tomb during an expedition unknown. He discovered it in the Sea of Galilee while searching for ancient prophecies. Inside the tomb, experts found something so shocking that it left them stunned. What did they find that made the entire Catholic Church rethink its beliefs? Join us as we uncover the devastating consequences this discovery will have for human history. Uncovering an ancient underwater structure. The tomb of Moses is a fascinating place shrouded in many tales, but nobody actually knows where it is. The Bible mentions that God instructed Moses to be buried alone in a valley in Moab, opposite Beth Peor. Islamic tradition also acknowledges that the exact burial site of Moses remains undiscovered. This unknown location sets the stage for some pretty interesting archaeological work, not in the pursuit of supernatural tales, but rather focusing on a massive, man-made structure found at the bottom of the Sea of Galilee. Back in 2003, this underwater structure was first spotted during a sonar survey. Made up of volcanic basalt rocks, it's huge, about 32 feet high and 230 feet wide, which is even bigger than Stonehenge. Professor Marco and his team of archaeologists and geologists are diving deep to figure out more about this giant structure. They believe it wasn't just a random pile of rocks, but it was placed there on purpose, likely for some significant communal or ceremonial reasons by an ancient civilization. This research goes beyond just trying to find connections to biblical stories, even though those connections might grab more public and media attention. The real goal here is to piece together the history and culture of the region. The findings are suggesting that we may have underestimated the sophistication of past civilizations around the Sea of Galilee. They likely had advanced skills in organization and architecture. And there's more. The team is also checking out other historical sites around the Sea of Galilee, like Nabi Musa and Mount Nebo. Each spot offers new clues, slowly building a clearer picture of the area's ancient history. They're finding artifacts that tell us about the daily lives, cultural practices, and interactions of the people who lived here long ago. This ongoing research is challenging the simple stories often told about these ancient people, suggesting they were quite complex and interconnected. Every new discovery adds to a larger discussion about what ancient people were capable of and how they might have lived and gathered around the significant structure in the Sea of Galilee. As they continue to explore, the researchers keep a balanced view, constantly testing new ideas and thoroughly examining the evidence. Their work highlights the complexities of historical study and the importance of always exploring and questioning our understanding of human history, pushing what we know further. During a summer expedition in 2003, the use of sonar technology led to the discovery of an intriguing underwater formation in the southwest area of the Sea of Galilee. The team found a large, cone-shaped pile of rocks, made mostly of volcanic basalt, deliberately arranged to form a massive structure, hinting at a possibly ceremonial use long ago. This underwater discovery prompts new questions about the past and the skilled builders who constructed this impressive structure. But that's not all. Rock cairns are neat little stacks of stones you can find all around the globe. They mark important spots like territories, grave sites, or sacred areas. There's one such structure discovered underwater in the Sea of Galilee that's pretty similar to these stone stacks, and it has caught the attention of many. Even though it looks like other cairns, we're still trying to figure out what its actual purpose was. Many researchers and archaeologists are working hard to learn more about this structure and the people who built it. Josh Gates and his crew took on the exciting task of diving deeper into this underwater problem. They used something called seismic surveying, which is a way to peek beneath the Earth's surface. This method taps into science stuff like magnetism, electricity, gravity, and the way materials bounce back to shape, helping to reveal what's hidden below, like ancient artifacts or geological structures. Their adventure kicked off with seismic air guns. These devices release strong bursts of compressed air into the water, creating waves that travel deep into the seabed. Around the survey area, they placed sensors to catch these waves as they echoed back. This information is key. It helps create a detailed map of what lies under the ocean floor. During their survey, the team had to adjust how often and how strongly they used the air guns to ensure they got a clear picture of the underwater landscape. They faced a few challenges, like broken equipment and tricky ocean conditions, but they pushed through. Every bit of data they gathered brought them closer to understanding what lies beneath. From sonar pictures to seismic scans, the quest for ancient truths reveals a hidden underwater world, the history beneath the waves. After days of effort, the seismic survey wrapped up, and the team had a wealth of data. Back at their lab, specialists started to sift through this data, analyzing each echo to build an accurate 3D model of the underwater area. This model was crucial to understand the age, makeup, and structure of the features they found. They made a particularly interesting find, an underwater structure partially buried under sediment, hinting at historical and archaeological importance, possibly linked to known historical sites like Miriam's Well. Thanks to the detailed seismic images, the researchers could see the structure's shape and size under the sediment, offering clues to its historical significance. Discoveries like this show how valuable seismic surveying is for uncovering underwater features that tell stories of past civilizations. Miriam's Well, known for being a miraculous source of water for the Israelites during tough times in the desert, plays into this story. After escaping Egypt and crossing the Red Sea, the Israelites struggled for water in the wilderness of Shur. They found water at Marah, but it was too bitter to drink. In this crisis, they looked to Moses, who, guided by God, made the bitter water sweet and drinkable by throwing wood into it. Stay tuned for more. This well is named after Miriam, Moses, and Aaron's elder sister, celebrated for her virtue and prophetic abilities. She played a crucial role during the Exodus, starting when she ensured Moses' safety as a baby on the Nile. Her vigilance secured a leader for the Israelites. The well named after her symbolizes her enduring faith and critical support to the Israelites, both spiritually and physically, during their 40-year travel through the desert. It served not only as a vital water source, but also as a symbol of guidance and support on their way to the Promised Land, reminding us of the power of faith and unity in overcoming huge challenges. In old Jewish stories, there's a special rock that did much more than provide water. This rock, according to legend, seemed to travel with the Israelites through their long travel across the desert. Whenever they stopped, this incredible rock would settle into the sand, and when leaders from each tribe asked, the rock would magically release water, quenching the thirst of the tired travelers. Some people think the rock didn't actually move, but it seemed like it did, because they always found water wherever they stopped. Close to the end of their time in the desert, just months before they were due to reach the Holy Land, the Israelites came to the desert of Zin and settled at Kadesh. It was here that Miriam, a highly respected figure, died. After her death, the well that consistently supplied water to the Israelites stopped working. This was not just a physical loss, but a deep spiritual challenge too. It marked a change from Miriam's spiritual guidance to a time when the Israelites needed to show a new kind of faith. And there's more. Their desperate need for water led them to confront Moses and Aaron, pleading for something to drink, as their lives depended on it. In response, God told Moses to gather the people, take a staff, and speak to the rock to bring out water. However, Moses struck the rock instead of speaking to it, which, although it did release water, caused severe consequences for him. By not following God's exact command, Moses showed he didn't adhere to the divine instructions as he should have. Because of this, Moses was not allowed to enter the Holy Land. This event underlines the extreme importance of total obedience and the power of using words to express faith instead of actions. This story is a vital part of the Exodus tale, a key story in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions. It tells of how the Israelites were freed from slavery in Egypt and their travels through the desert under Moses' leadership. This event is thought to have occurred during the Late Bronze Age, but the exact details and timing are often discussed by scholars. What we discover beneath the sea's surface challenges our understanding and connects us to old stories and impressive structures from the past. Bronze Age structures under the sea. Recently, a structure found in the Sea of Galilee has brought a new twist to understanding the region's history during the Bronze Age, possibly linking it to the Exodus story. Further examination of this structure shows it was built around 4,000 years ago, during the Bronze Age. This finding has sparked a lot of interest, as it provides a physical connection to the famous stories of the Exodus and Miriam's well, offering a stronger link to these ancient tales. This discovery has not only excited scholars, but also opened up new perspectives on the historical settings of these long-told stories. A detailed 3D scan revealed the intricate details of this submerged structure, showing its large size and careful construction. It was clear this was not a natural feature, but a result of human creativity and planning, intentionally built and placed at the bottom of the sea. Archaeologists believe it was originally built on land, but later covered by water. Determining its exact age remains difficult, highlighting the complexity of this discovery. The nearest source of basalt rock was several hundred feet from where the structure was built, indicating that moving these heavy stones, some weighing over 198 pounds and up to 7 feet wide, would have required a lot of effort and teamwork. The discovery of this ancient underwater structure has raised many questions, prompting researchers to wonder if it might be connected to historical accounts like Miriam's well. Could this intriguing structure hold clues to knowledge long buried under the sea? This question has driven researchers to dig deeper into their studies. They realize there is much more work to be done, as the next steps involve more detailed exploration inside the structure, a task that is expected to provide further insights into this archaeological marvel. Keep watching for more. People keep looking for the place where Moses died. This search isn't just about finding an old site. It's also about feeling a spiritual connection and understanding more about history. According to old stories, Moses wasn't allowed into the Holy Land because he made a mistake. He was supposed to talk to a rock to get water, but instead, he hid it. He died near the Jordan River, with his people camped close by. Josh Gates, curious about Moses, went to Jordan to learn more. He visited Nabi Musa, a big old site named after Moses. There, he met Tafi Dili, an expert in Islamic studies and archaeology. Josh was thankful for Tafi's help and impressed by the site's grand size. Wanting to know more about Moses' last days, Josh asked Tafi where Moses might be buried. Tafi pointed to Mount Nebo, across the valley, and the Dead Sea. A church built there in the 4th century marks it as Moses' traditional burial spot. Josh was excited about the idea that archaeological evidence might back up this belief. Tafi shared that Islamic tradition also respects Moses. It's said that Prophet Muhammad, on a miraculous trip from Jerusalem, saw Moses praying at his tomb on this side of the Jordan River. This mix of different beliefs about Moses' resting place made Josh want solid evidence. He and Tafi went down to the lower levels of the mosque at Nabi Musa, where, according to Islamic belief, Moses' tomb is. Standing near the tomb, Josh felt a deep connection to history and the questions that still hang around this site. Tafi talked about Nabi Musa's history, dating back to the 13th century. It's fascinating that Moses is remembered after so many centuries, but many details about his life and death are still partly unknown. Tafi told stories that have been passed down, blending spoken traditions and historical records. This mix of facts and legends makes it hard to separate true events from long-standing stories. Each story adds to our understanding of Moses, creating a complex mix of facts and myths that challenges historians and scholars. But that's not all. Nabi Musa used to be a quiet place for remembering Moses, but now it's a busy spot that attracts visitors from all over the world. These people come to deepen their spiritual connections and think about their beliefs. This change from a calm memorial to a busy pilgrimage site shows how historical and religious places can adapt to meet current needs while keeping their spiritual importance. As more people visit, there's a challenge: how to balance what we learn from science with what we hold in our hearts. Archaeologists like Tafi don't just dig up old things, they also respect the spiritual connections people have with these places. They try to find a middle ground where history and personal faith can exist together peacefully. Exploring the possible burial spot of Moses brings together faith and history, linking ancient traditions with today's search for answers. The burial myths of Moses. The phrase, "proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof," takes on deeper meaning when we talk about Moses and his unknown burial site. Not knowing where Moses is buried keeps people talking about his life and what he taught. Some think God hid Moses' grave on purpose so people wouldn't worship it. Since Moses had a big impact on spiritual teachings, there was a worry that focusing on his grave might distract people from the lessons he left behind. By keeping the grave's location confidential, the focus stays on what Moses taught and his legacy, not on where he was buried. This choice helps keep the attention on spiritual growth and celebrating Moses for his teachings, not for where he rests. Another idea is that God hid Moses' body to highlight that spiritual things are more important than physical things. By not telling anyone where Moses is buried, God encourages us to think more about Moses' teachings and the lasting impact of his actions, rather than his grave's location. The Bible tells us that Moses died on Mount Nebo as he looked over the land of Moab, and that he was buried in a valley across from Beth Peor. But no one knows exactly where. The fact that Moses might be buried in Beth Peor is interesting because it has a lot of symbolic meaning. It reminds people of times when Israel turned to idol worship, which had bad results because they didn't listen to God. By choosing Beth Peor for Moses' burial, God was making a point about the dangers of worshiping idols and the importance of following his teachings. Even though we might never know where Moses' grave is, the place he might be buried in still carries a message for believers to think deeply about spiritual truths and trust in wisdom beyond human understanding. When we explore religious stories, we often see that specific places are important to those stories. As we try to understand ancient lessons and connect more with our spiritual beliefs, looking into places like where Moses might be buried or areas under the Sea of Galilee has been quite an adventure. From the peaceful waters of the Sea of Galilee to the lively religious site of Nabi Musa, we cover a lot of history and different traditions. This exploration encourages us to ask old questions and connects the past with our modern spiritual life. This path not only makes us reflect on our spiritual history, but also helps us understand better how ancient beliefs fit into our lives today. But wait, there's more. Recently, people got really interested in a strange structure found under the Sea of Galilee. Using advanced technology, researchers found evidence that people from the Bronze Age built something there. This discovery makes us wonder about its purpose and how it connects to ancient communities and religious stories. As research continues, clues about what this structure was used for start to emerge, maybe a place of worship or a significant monument. This find makes us think about how ancient structures relate to the stories and traditions we know, affecting more than just our knowledge of history, but also our sense of cultural heritage and the connection between history and spirituality. Digging into where Moses might be buried involves looking at different traditions and strong beliefs. Our search takes us from the historic Mount Nebo to the religious site of Nabi Musa, where stories about Moses connect various cultures and faiths. This mix of faith and history really grabs our imagination. Despite lots of searching and academic work, the exact spot where Moses is buried is still not known. This ongoing uncertainty pushes us to think about bigger spiritual themes and trust in a deeper understanding that might be beyond what we can fully grasp. Is the discovery of Moses' tomb a groundbreaking revelation or a dangerous Pandora's box? Share your thoughts and remember to like and subscribe for more.